Let me declare the beginning of today's session, but prior to the kickoff of the session, let me introduce Chairman Moon from JDC. He will deliver his greeting message. Let's give him a big round of hands.
Hello everyone, I am Moon Dae-rim from JDC. For sustainable development and for the development of Jeju Jeju Island on a stable manner is the common goal of everyone. I think my organization, JCD, is in the middle of confusion at the moment because with the launch of SDG, JDC was also established. And with the announcement of renewed SDG, we have gone through many paradigm shifts, putting more focus on environmental values over economic values. So we have gone through many confusions, but now we have a clear goal to recover and revitalize ecosystem in Jeju Island. And I think this project and this effort should be done on our own. And based on the support and assistance from many experts, we'd like to make a promise to make continued efforts. Thank you. Once again, thank you for your remarks, Chairman Moon. Please give him another round of big applause. Now, let me introduce the moderator for the session. We have Professor Kim Kyung-ho from Jeju University. He is a Vice President of the Korean Society for Media Law, Ethics and Policy Research, and he is acting in various fields at the moment. Now let me hand it over to the moderator. Hello, I am Kim Kyung-ho from Jeju University. I am honored to be able to moderate this meaningful session. As you all understand, this year marks 15 years since the launch of Jeju Special Self-Governing Province. And it was designed as an engine for the growth of the Korean economy. It's been 15 years since the beginning. The direction pursuing free international city should be revisited at this moment, I believe. In this regard, we need to talk about the sustainable development of free international city, and today we'd like to have an in-depth discussion together with experts in various fields. So today, this session will touch on 2 points. First, if Jeju-do is able to develop as a free international city that can pursue sustainable growth, what we need to do. And second, we need to make some progress. And we'd like to touch on these 2 points today. First, we have keynote speaker. He is one of the most famous experts in this area, Professor Kim Do-nyeon from Seongkyungan University. And we also have great panelists, and let me introduce them later on. Professor Kim Do-nyeon, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Professor Kim Do-yeon. And first of all, let me express my gratitude for having an opportunity to present. I'm really honored to talk about the Jeju International City. Given the characteristics of Jeju, we must penetrate into the world. And this is the future that I want. And based on my experiences, let me make a projection over the future of Jeju Island. In a nutshell, in order to secure the success for Jeju-do as well as Korea itself, we must communicate with the residents of Jeju so that a continuous growth would be realized. And as a result, an ecosystem will be created. So in this era of fourth industrial revolution, Jeju City will create the eco platform for a smart green city. The world is talking about the crisis for the human beings in two reasons. First one is climate change, and the other thing is environmental degradation from the urban area due to the rapid industrialization. In addition, make matters worse, COVID-19 created an even huge crisis. At the epicenter of the crisis is the urban area. Actually, cities are the results of civilization and culture, and that's the representative symbol that people has been establishing. So in this international city, exchanges are very active, and we must produce in an inclusive way so that the continuous growth of the Jeju City would be secured. That's the basic. However, due to the current crisis, we must shed a light upon the current situation of cities again. The concept of smart technologies and smart city and other representative technologies of the fourth industrial revolution. Thanks to these technologies, we are mitigating the impact from the pandemic, and Korea is taking the lead in mitigating the impact of the coronavirus. And the other tide of change is that new companies are being born. Airbnb, even without a room for a hotel, is operating more accommodations compared to the international hotel chain of Hilton. And Amazon.com is cannibalizing the conventional bookstores, while Netflix is posing a threat to movie theaters. All these circumstances showcase the sign of new change, which could be highlighted as a share economy, which would be the answer to the effective utilization of limited resource. So factories, which are the representative product of the previous industrial revolution, are moving to the suburban or rural areas, and the cities are serving as a industrial hub for services and consumption. However, the cities are not really ready to get adapted into the new circumstances. That's the reason that we must ask a question about the future of the cities. In New York City, Boston City, or Seoul City, people can manufacture artificial ear with 3D printer, and it does not cause any environmental degradation. If so, while contributing to the preservation of the environment, we must create a new room for new industries. And I believe that Jeju City is ready, totally ready for this phenomenon, because there are a lot of people who are equipped with the spirit of entrepreneurship. So they are trying to find a place that city culture is mature, so where they can showcase or demonstrate their products. Along with the culture and nature of Jeju province, the city infrastructure is hailing the entrepreneurs. So what they require is the bespoke smart infrastructure. So there are a lot of supportive measures conducted by the Jeju municipal government, and due to this, a lot of entrepreneurs will be heading toward the Jeju city, so that a new culture or a new tide would be created. And if you search Jeju in Google for this year, a lot of images of nature are shown. So we must sustain this beautiful nature while developing the industry. This is the smart village in the UK, and it's also a tourist destination. So this is the showcase of the sustainable city. And the headquarters of Apple does not use fossil fuel for 9 months a year. So these type of buildings must be moved into Jeju City. So the authorities of Jeju City, Jeju Island must think about how to accommodate those type of new green buildings, such as Google headquarters or Apple headquarters. This is the storytelling of the city. So it shows about the stories and the values behind the city. And this is my ideal future of city. So the 5G vehicles are commercialized, and that's like the realized version of future. This type of introduction will make Jeju even more abundant. So with the respect for the value and the environment, Jeju City can grow even further. If you take a look at the comprehensive plan for the international free economic zone of Jeju City, by utilizing the spatial resources and human resources, they can realize the city where everyone dreams. But what's more important is that it should be experienceable. So in order to make it experienceable, small success cases must be realized first. And when the residents of Jeju enjoys the small successes, then they can draw even more supports and investments from the city government, municipal government, as well as the central government of Korea. So Jeju will serve as a interactive showcase and experienceable testbed for cutting-edge technologies. And that will create many small successful stories. Jeju International City should be the living lab for a smart eco platform. So if there is an environmental technology, people would come to Jeju City to make a test on the environmental technology. That means that Jeju will serve as a platform for eco-friendly technologies. If there is any transportation tool or means which are environmentally friendly, then they will come to Jeju City to have a demonstration or test sessions. In that case, the knowledge and value of Asia or the globe would be heading toward the Jeju City, so we can accommodate international campuses more in Jeju. And this is where the new culture of startups are born now. So the students of top-tier universities are visiting Jeju, and they are collaborating with the students in Jeju universities to test if they are successful as a startup entrepreneur. And I'm firmly convinced that Jeju Authority is totally ready to accommodate those type of student entrepreneurs. University matters, money matters, but what's more important is to have a open platform. So in order to realize this, we have to have a smart infrastructure. So in order to draw international human resources, we have to have the proper infrastructure. But we are already armed up with 5G, big data, and other base technologies. It isn't a difficult task for Jeju authorities because they are already equipped with the state-of-the-art technologies, and these could be connected together thanks to AI. Then Jeju City can collect necessary data. In that case, a number of smart cities are actually competing together in Korea, and they are talking about the competitiveness of the smart city, competitiveness of the authorities, but all those values could be interconnected with the values that could be showcased by Jeju. And then, considering the implementation of a smart city, which is pursued by the United Nations, the establishment of the platform in Suite could support Jeju City to share the accumulated experiences and knowledge. Lastly, I would like to talk about the international organizations and collaborations. UN Habitat and UNIDO and other international organizations are in desperate need of these type of experiences. So if Jeju approaches them to have a collaboration, they will be eager to participate in the collaboration project. This is the picture that I showed you before. If you Google Jeju, in 9 years, different images will be shown up, such as smart city, living lab, and technology. So Google Map will show you different images of Jeju, not only nature, but also future ecosystem. This would be the remarkable strong point of the Jeju International City. That's the basic role and responsibility of JEDC, as I believe. So within just 15 minutes, I want to summarize my experiences in Jeju. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Kim. It was quite a concise and impactful presentation. I found a couple of keywords: the experience by citizens, smart platform, eco platform, smart city, etc. By studying further on these keywords, I look forward to making further development and involvement in Jeju. Once again, please give him a big hand. Now we have another speaker, Dr. Sang-geun from Jeju Research Institute. He is a research fellow at the institute, and I believe many of you have seen his face on the TV because he led the development of the Jeju Free International City Comprehensive Plan. Today, he's going to talk about the sustainable development direction of Jeju Free International City. Hello everyone, I am Sang-geun from Jeju Research Institute. I am delighted to be here, and today I'm going to touch on the sustainable development direction of Jeju Free International City. At the moment, we are working on third comprehensive plan. Taking this opportunity, I'd like to share the details of the comprehensive plan. And also, we need to think about why environmental issues have been highlighted these days, together with the development plan. And at the same time, I'd like to share the direction of the third comprehensive plan and how we are going to achieve the plan going forward. So in order to share the background and progress of this plan, I realized that the Korean government has always been much interested in the development of Jeju Island because already in 1960s, the government started to try to develop Jeju Island. That's why there have been 6 rounds of revision of master plan for the development of Jeju Island. And former President Kim Dae-jung visited Jeju Island in 2000 and made concrete plan for the development of the island. So the development of Jeju Island is a part of grand strategy of the nation, and also it is a part of a local plan to develop the region. As you can see on the material, former President Kim Dae-jung visited Jeju Island back in 2000 and announced this plan, including the direction of Jeju Island to be developed. And I found the development plan for Jeju is different from other cities' development plan, like Singapore or Hong Kong. From 1998, this comprehensive plan has been developed and revised several times. In order to share the flow of the development plan, first comprehensive plan laid the foundation for the development. So in a nutshell, the plan focused on the tourism and high-tech industry logistics plan. And then afterwards, we have made some supplementary plans. In most international free city projects, many are familiar with these pilot projects. But in the second comprehensive plan, we realized that China is a huge market. And at this moment, from this moment, we realized the importance of environmental matters. And these factors were included in the second comprehensive plan. And I believe significant change started when we started to develop the second comprehensive plan. And there was an exponential growth of tourists to the island. That's why we started to revise the plan. Together with the growth of tourists, we wanted to make sure that the province residents are enjoying their lives in the island. So in this modified comprehensive plan, the city government wanted to reflect the key values of Jeju Island, which is green city and green space. And also, we tried to clarify roles. This comprehensive plan has many subcategory plans, And we realized that the importance of categorization of roles for each different sub-plans. And that's why we put more focus on projects under those sub-plans. And according to the evaluation on those 4 plans, based on the core projects, which was, we had a 39 projects. It turned out that 8 projects were continued with update considering the changes in the circumstances. And I think from 2010, together with this comprehensive plan, there have been many changes in the situation and circumstances of the island, such as reckless development, congestion, waste management issues became the headache of the island. So while we plan for the development of Jeju Island, we never imagined this kind of project would happen. And also, we had many other projects or other plans for the development of Jeju Island, in addition to the comprehensive plan, which caused many confusion within the government. And the basic direction was touched upon by the 3rd comprehensive plan. And the 3rd comprehensive plan included green energy and many other environment-related issues and factors. And we wanted to separate many sub-projects from the master plan, and also clarified who should lead each different project. So with the 3rd comprehensive plan, we clarified the entity to take the lead in different projects and plans. In the interest of time, let me skip several pages. And we tried best to listen to the public opinion and also expert opinions to make sure we establish a smart city and smart Jeju Island where people and the environment can coexist. As a result, we have 8 strategies in place. To summarize these, first of all, we need to think about living space. Second, infrastructure. Third, inclusive policy. Fourth, environmental management for the next 10 years. And fifth, we also need to think about traditional industry of Jeju Island. 6, future-oriented industrial innovation should be implemented. 7, international exchange. And lastly, we need to make sure expats can live happily in Jeju Island. And each different strategy has their core project. At the moment, we have 15 core projects. The basic direction is for the establishment of infrastructure, smart city, tourism, and the development of industry in the island. And we also think about how and what kind of industry should be adopted in preparation for fourth industrialization. And so far, we have struggled to cooperate with other organizations. That's why we included some measures to boost our collaboration. in the third comprehensive plan. For core projects, the implementation plan will be laid out by JDC, but action plans will be designed and implemented by the Jeju province government. And going forward, these projects will put more focus on the indexes on sustainability, welfare, environment, other than industry, population, and economy. And also, we tried best to link these indices with UN SDGs and other master indicators. As mentioned, we have organized a consulting body together with JDC, Jeju government, and also other professionals. We need to encourage people to participate in the process of discussion in this consulting party and also provide their feedback. So in order to improve this system and institution, there could be many solutions. More than one solutions are possible. But the thing is, we have many problems to deal with. In order to successfully implement these projects, especially core projects, we need to put more focus on the areas where we need to prioritize. So we wanted to make sure that the third comprehensive plan could provide the direction of the implementation of projects. And there have been many discussions over tourism contribution or environment preservation contribution. And we included some measures to encourage the payment of contributions in link with the development of a free international city. So the third comprehensive plan at least should provide the basic direction of all these. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. The third comprehensive plan has been receiving much attention from the citizens. So many pay attention to the development of the plan and the design of the future strategy. Now we are going to open it up for a discussion. Let me introduce our panelists. We have about 30 minutes for a panel discussion. First, we have Mr. Oh Sung-ik from Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport. We have Mr. Kim Tae-young, Director from PricewaterhouseCoopers Consulting. We also have Mr. Kim Do-han from Jeju Free International City Development Center. And also we have Professor Kim Do-nyun and Mr. Sang-geun. These two gentlemen will also participate in the panel discussion. After the discussion, we are going to have a Q&A session. We are going to take questions from the floor. If you have a question, please raise your hand. For those of you online, you can enter your opinion or questions on the YouTube channel. Let me ask a question to Professor Kim Do-nyun first. You are leading the Smart City Committee of Korea, and you have contributed to the development and design of cities not only in Jeju but other local cities. how much probability or possibility do you think Jeju could be?
What's the biggest problem is that development and preservation conflicts. That's a common question and problem for all the cities. And even New York has the similar problem. But recently, I personally realized that the economic value, environmental value, and other values has been separately considered. However, that's the paradigm of the past. So these type of values could be integrated. That's the right direction of the cities in the future, I believe. In this regard, this beautiful nature of Jeju will make a springboard for Jeju Island to further advance the cities. So this is about how to utilize the conventional land resources and to realize new development projects. So we have to be very wise in selecting and choosing those type of options. So for Jeju Island, it's really important to preserve the natural resources and environment while developing new real estates. And the initial infrastructure cost is quite high, and that should be shared by the corporate investors and the real residents. This should be considered once more. So establishing a residential complex and science or technology parks are two different types of developments. So although it costs a lot and we have to pay a lot of money for land, however, I believe that that's where the future of JDC lies in. Because in this era of high income, it's really difficult to sophisticated conventional infrastructure. However, this is the problem that other advanced countries had already had. So by creating new value to land and by returning the value of the development project, we can further advance the old districts of the urban area, and we can also reorganize the supply method of the land or the land plan. So from Jeju perspective, we have to think about it now. And secondly, the efforts to solve the problem is the new system and institution for a city. We can see the examples of Singapore, Marina Bay, and other places, and the innovation complexes or districts supported by the government should be intensively supplied to a certain location. So this type of paradigm shift will suggest a new method to reform the land plan in this fourth industrial revolution era. As an island, Jeju can take advantage of successful projects. And I think Singapore could serve as a good benchmark as an island. So Jeju could refer to the Singaporean successful cases. So the biggest success in the future for Jeju is to create a new project based on the given condition, and Jeju will serve as a platform or a bridge to the future. And everybody talks about the natural resources and natural condition of Jeju Island. It does not necessarily mean that they will not pursue sustainable development. It's not conflicting concepts. So we need communication, and from the international perspective, experts can help us to find a solution. So at the international level and at the local level, we will try to find the solutions, and we can maximize the condition of the Jeju Island, such as openness as an international city and the exclusiveness as a isolated island could be harmonized thanks to the participation of the experts from home and abroad. So that's the forward-looking attitude toward the future, and that's so-called eco platform that will create the proper future, desired future for Jeju Island, and that will suggest the future direction for Jeju while maximizing or optimizing the feature of Jeju as an island. That sounds a little bit vague, I know, but I designed Sangam DMC, Digital Media City, and that's quite dramatic that once a dump area turned into a digital city. And this story creates a lot of values. That's quite dramatic, and even the Hollywood film of Avengers took shooting in Sangam DMC, and people go on a picnic to DMC, and this could be retranslated into Jeju situation, so Jeju can seek out economic prosperity while preserving the value for the next generation. So the current efforts would not create the future efforts. Rather, future vision will define the current task for us. Based on this, we can create the future civilization and culture of Jeju Island. And we need the assistance from the expert so that we can. So we should open up Jeju Island to draw more attention and participation of the experts. Thank you. Thank you. And now, Director Oh Sung-ik, please make your remark.
들이셔서 더욱이 우리 제주에 대한
He's a Jeju native, so he has a lot of affection for Jeju Island. And regarding the trend of ESG, what do you think is the utilization of ESG for the continuous development of Jeju Island? And what's the lesson that we must draw?
예, 말씀 감사합니다. 예.
Thank you. Yeah, my mother was a female diver, and my father operated orange farm. So now she does not live in Jeju Island, but we think a lot about Jeju Island all the time. So personally, I am very delighted to have this meaningful opportunity in Jejuforum. The term ESG is quite popular. It's featured in media and everyone talks about ESG. So it's about the corporate social responsibility, and it has been featured a lot on the media. So by the nature of corporate, companies pursue profit making. But nowadays, we are highlighting the role of corporate to make contributions to society. And this social responsibility needs to be discussed in a variety of ways from different fields. I think the main topic for the social responsibility is focusing on environment. We could think about ecological environment like trees, but at the moment, we need to think about ways to reduce CO2 emissions and waste reduction, plastic use reduction. these efforts should be considered, especially within the landscape of Jeju Island. I think Jeju Island takes the lead in this area. I mean, in this environmental landscape. And the packaging for oranges harvested in Jeju is eco-friendly, and also the label-less bottle for samdasu, which is ethnic water in Jeju Island, is also interesting. So people in Jeju, I think, are paying more attention to the environmental issues. And the origin of the tourism in Jeju Island is based on the mother nature. And I think we need to make sure that we utilize the mother nature on a more sustainable and eco-friendly way. And regarding society from this social responsibility, we face a gender issue. In Jeju Island, we have tradition of female divers. It is something we can feel proud of. Last year, I did hiking. I did bike trip together with my dad. But my mother did not want to show her occupation. But last year, she decided to what she does for a living to me finally. And I think nowadays, the pride of female divers in Jeju has been highlighted. And the story of female divers in Jeju Island was designated by UNESCO as a World Heritage. And I think this played an important role to inform the story of female divers in Jeju to the world. I think we need to further develop the history of female divers in Jeju. I think the first working mom in Korean history is these Korean female divers, according to the New York Times, but we don't know well. The first working mom ever in Korea are female divers. We have a lot of working moms these days. We expect them to become Superman. Although we have a number of working moms around us, but we lack in opportunities to talk about how we can support these working moms. And I think we focus more on the history of female divers in Jeju Island. We may be able to contribute to better environment for working moms. It can be done not only by researchers in Jeju, but also by other researchers in other areas who focus on the gender equality issue. By doing so, I believe we can make more meaningful discussion on working moms. And also another popular topic is inclusive economy or inclusive growth. One thing we need to develop further, traditionally Jeju Island always highlighted the concept of independence. And my grandfather did not dine together with my grandmother. It was so natural for them. I think it was because they were too independent. And I think the independence this independence to some extent undermined our interest and affection to each other. I think we need to ask ourselves if we are paying enough attention to our neighbors and people around us. In Seoul, we have more citizen-friendly services, such as visiting healthcare service in order to make sure if the elderly is still alive and safe. This could be a good example. And lastly, we also need to think about governance. When we talk about ESG, we tend to put less focus on governance. But I believe governance is the most important factor in ESG. First of all, people have many thoughts in themselves, but they feel that no one is willing to listen to them. Everyone has their own story. The tourist to Jeju Island could visit the marketplace, traditional marketplace in Jeju Island. But they found something finished goods or factory-made goods in the marketplace. And a Frenchman pointed out that Korean housing is always based on apartment buildings. But we need to be proud of apartment buildings because it's convenient and comfortable. So we need to think about the reflection of our need for high quality living standards. And we learned about the third comprehensive plan for Jeju Free International City. Ordinary citizens like myself do not understand why these kind of plans are laid out and why Jeju was designated as a free international city in the first place. We do not have an opportunity to understand the background and the cause of these projects and policies. Only when there's an issue, we have an opportunity to understand the situation in retrospective way. So I think we need to have more opportunities to have a discussion on these new projects and policies. Jeju Island, I believe, has governance-based policy structure. And their policy is focusing on the public projects. Not that I'm saying public projects are bad, but public projects should be able to be implemented not by the government and public organizations, but also by ordinary citizens and contributed by these ordinary people. I'm afraid that Jeju Island does not have such social infrastructure yet. That's why ordinary citizens like myself are not interested in these public projects. Fortunately, this third comprehensive plan highlighted the chance to listen to the public opinion, and I think it will be the stepping stone for further development of the island. In the interest of time, Sorry to interrupt. But yeah, we need to listen to more people. Thank you. Despite the limited timeline, I had to interrupt. Sorry about that. Once again, thank you, Mr. Let me hand it over to Mr. Oh.
Let me go briefly. If I may add something to the previous remarks, it's not a matter of comprehensive plan or not. In order to create an international city, Jeju has been, people say that Jeju has been focused on development heavily. I don't 100% agree about this because the issue of infrastructure are pointed out, and the issue of infrastructure should be approached in two different aspects. So in order to create the international city, we have to build the infrastructure first, such as tourism and other concepts like tourism, industry, education, etc. We had to establish an infrastructure as an international city. Of course, human resources or contents must go together. And when we talk about infrastructure, it's not only about development, but also about the residential area infrastructure, such as transportation, environment. So the infrastructure for the people who live in Jeju is another problem. So if that's that important, does this mean that we don't have to develop Jeju Island as an international city? No. There are a lot of changes in conditions, living conditions. That's the reason that we must continue improving and sophisticating the infrastructure. So the tourist city and education city and international city, three different concepts were pursued at the same time, and that created a lot of issues. That's for sure. And the international city was impacted a lot by the tourists, and traffic jam is another issue that the residents of Jeju Island points out. So the infrastructure issues and environmental issues cannot be mixed together. We have to take different approaches for different issues. And when we talk about the international free economic zone in international city in Jeju Island, we have to set up future tasks, and the total volume for the environmental resources matters a lot. That will be the indicator for the environmental capacity or the future of Jeju Island. So that's the reason that we are about to adopt the overall system for the environmental issues, and we have to select the developing areas and the preserving areas, and that's quite difficult to draw a fine line between the two different areas. So as the moderator pointed out, we have to consider the issue of making the correct line between the conventional cities and the area that will be newly developed in order to prevent any issues of unplanned development from happening. We have to be very thorough in approaching the plan for international city establishment. And although it's a comprehensive plan, every issue cannot be included in one plan. So we have to select the area of focus, and these detailed plans should specify other issues. So in a nutshell, comprehensive plan is a comprehensive plan that contains only core issues. And while proceeding with the plan, people pointed out about the lack of the governance and discussion structure. It was really difficult to create the governance. That's where we have to improve further, because there are some issues of conflicts of values, and it's really hard to reach consensus. This type of things must be institutionalized. We are still trying to find a sensational, drastic way to innovate the current system. And as we are in the middle of going into a sophisticated city, we have to make more efforts. Thank you. Thank you for your input. And the microphone will be given to the board member of JDC. Last year, you established the JDC development strategy for Jeju. So including Jeju's potential, would you give me the remark?
The domestic market is quite challenging, and it's geographically it's quite isolated. So against this backdrop, for the last 2 decades, based on the first comprehensive plan for Jeju Free City, we encouraged the investment from overseas countries and also attracted many expats to Jeju Island and encouraged the development of ITGT industry by attracting many companies to the island. However, these achievements are not developed in line with the internationalization of the island. Last year, when we did this pilot project for the internalization of the island in JDC, we came up with 3 ways to pursue the development of the city island. First one was quantitative growth, second qualitative growth, third stable foundation for growth of the island. And we need to think about which stage Jeju Island is located at the moment. We have completed the quantitative growth, and we need to put more focus on qualitative growth. As you all know, we have competitive edge regarding natural resources, accessibility to other cities, and also the average temperature is pretty much the same around the year. And also we have abundant cultural values such as history, story, heritage, etc. By combining these values, we can have much more potential to develop further. However, education, medical services, ITBT, in many areas of industries, we don't see any specific project or business that highlight the unique value of Jeju Island. In this regard, going forward, we need to make more use of natural resources, and based on that, we can sophisticate the medical services through innovation, and by doing so, we can create unique image of Jeju Island so that Jeju has its own unique projects and values. By integrating different industries and also adding colors, unique colors of Jeju, we can make it possible. As introduced through the introduction of third comprehensive plan, we can create cultural complex or heritage complex which can appeal to the public based on Jeju Island's unique colors. And also we need to establish a more transparent discussion body Communication with outsiders is important. However, we need to have more discussion with insiders like citizens and ordinary people and professionals. JDC and Jeju government have tried hard to listen to the public opinion. However, we must have been insufficient in this matter. We will work harder. Thank you for being punctual. Lastly, let us invite Mr. Kim Do-han for his remarks. As he is leading the development of Jeju Island himself, I believe he can share the ideas and direction of the development plan.
As the schedule has been a little bit delayed and we are a bit behind the schedule, however, we have to project the next 1 century or 120 years. Let's talk about the role of the JDC briefly. As you know, back in 2002, the JDC was established and it was selected as one of the 7 large projects that were selected by the government. And among 7, 6 tasks were given to the JDC. So during the last 20 years, we have been doing our best to realize and implement the tasks that were given from the government. And on the process, we collected the voices from the residential community, and we have been humbled by the feedback from the community. And last year we had a meeting to set up the next goal for the next 30 years or 50 years, and we decided that turning our eyes from the hardware development, we have to think about and focus on software development. As the second presenter mentioned before, we have to think about the importance of the implementation of platform. For example, we conducted a project to discover the potential areas, and among them, eco-friendly vehicles such as hydrogen vehicle and the sophistication of ports and logistics were the important tasks that can upgrade the competitive edge of the city by 1 notch. So if these plans are reflected in the comprehensive plan and agreed by the citizens, that will take some time. However, hydrogen tram is not mere an eco-friendly transportation tool. Through this, the conventional issues of traffic jam and traffic congestion should be solved. And the old urban area must be vitalized by the establishment of the tram route. And the government is trying to set up the blueprint for hydrogen economy 2050. So if Jeju conducts the hydrogen tram projects, there will be some related issues such as energy storage, maintenance, and others. And startups in the relevant area will try to participate in the bidding process. So based on this kind of process, a platform that connects a lot of different industries will be created. So that's the reason that we are eager for having the opportunity agreed by the residents of Jeju. And the other issue would be the storytelling of the city. So we have to promote the storytelling of the city. So far, the JDC has been developer. However, for the next 20 or 30 years, we will try to become a platform provider for the economy and the society. And the issues of urban environment and environmental degradation problems should be mitigated with an alternative for projects. And regarding the storytelling, Jeju has abundant natural resources, and I believe that that's the case with the culture of Jeju, because we have Chusa Museum close to the education city of Jeju. Actually, the world is crazy about K-pop culture, and BTS is one of the most famous singers globally. And back in the 19th century, Chusa, a calligrapher, was the symbol of culture, or the icon for culture. So the reason that Jeju Island has the museum dedicated to Chusa, who was the celebrity calligrapher of the Joseon dynasty, Jeju can take the advantage of become a culture hub, take the advantage of a cultural hub that owns a lot of cultural assets. That will be really helpful for us to prepare for the next 20 or 30 years. And when the comprehensive plan is confirmed, within 6 months, the detailed implementation plan will be made from the JDC. And many panels pointed out on the issue of the participation of the citizens and how to collect feedback from the citizens. These type of items should be considered thoroughly. So we will listen carefully to the voices from the residents of Jeju. From governance perspective, these will be supplemented and bolstered. So for the next 20, 30, or 50 years, Jeju citizens, please open up your mind for us, because we need your support. Your support will give us a huge momentum in order to respond well to your feedback or requirement. We will do our best. That's all about it. Thank you. Thank you. As the constraints in time, we will now open the floor. So if you have any question or comment, please feel free to ask us questions. So if you have any question or comment, please raise your hand. Our staff will deliver the microphone. So if you raise your hand, our staff will deliver the microphone.
Hello, I am working for JDC. Professor Kim said, I'd like to thank Professor Kim for his presentation. JDC focused on infrastructure development. As you mentioned recently, we are putting more focus on environment and other issues. But Jeju lacks in infrastructure as an international city, but we still need to think about environmental aspects. Based on smart infrastructure, we can try to make many pilot projects. By doing so, can we realize our dream to realize a free international city? I think it was a good question. Many public developers around the world, and also in Korea, are struggling with this problem as well. First of all, in 20th century, in order to secure competitiveness as a city, we focused on fossil fuels. It was the only way for us to secure competitiveness as a nation, as a city. Not that I'm saying this is wrong. Without the development based on fossil fuels in the past, we cannot even imagine our future together here. So we don't have to see it as something wrong. So these public developers need to think about the unique characteristics of Korea. Government organizations and local governments, including Jeju province. When we think about these public organizations, decision makers are removed within 2 years. The actual implementation has to be done by these public developers. Although the government changes going forward, we need to evolve the current projects further without removing. For the past 7 to 8 decades, we have developed the country and it was led by the government, but I don't think it was wrong at all. However, we need to evolve based on the development that way. So in order to do so, we need to have more flexible public developer like JDC. First of all, they have to become a fast finder. What we need in the future has to be identified by these developers. The preservation of the nature, socially responsible companies, and infrastructure, etc. So in 21st century, we say infrastructure are embedded. The broadcasting here and online broadcasting, these are embedded in our society. Roads are constructed based on the budget and based on the tax we paid. But going forward, given the infrastructure provided by the government, companies were able to make growth. And now the private sector is driving the development of the society as a whole. So the role of JDC would be to identify these infrastructure embedded in our society and make evolvement. This will satisfy the need of citizens, and I think between the need of citizens and infrastructure, JDC and other public developers should work as a bridge, connecting these two different areas. The role of JDC in this regard should include planning to developing. We can take a look at other examples, other public developer of other nations. You can take reference to these public developers. I think you can find solution in the cases of foreign public developers. And also, your efforts need to be in line with the work done by the central government. At the same time, we need to make sure that the development of Jeju Island is done by the professionals and developers in Jeju. I'm afraid I don't have much time. So we need to take a look at other examples of the public developer in UK and other nations. Small-scale success can make great contribution to the citizens and Jeju as a whole. I'm afraid I wasn't that punctual, sorry. I'm afraid I don't have much time either. As a moderator, I need to encourage good discussion, but at the same time, moderator has to be quite punctual. I apologize about that. I appreciate all the panelists and presenters who shared great ideas with us. This concludes the session, and the opinion shared within this session will contribute to the future direction of JDC and the development of Jeju Island. Once again, thank you, everyone. This concludes the session. Once again, please give a big hand to the participants and panelists.